sunny spaces, smiling faces, happy places. But every sunny space holds a shadow. Behind every smile are sharp teeth, and every happy place has something sinister lurking just below the surface.
Welcome to We Saw the Devil, the podcast diving deep into the chilling realms of true crime. Join your host Robin as she unravels mysteries that have left investigators baffled and armchair sleuths obsessed. Be forewarned, dear listener. We Saw the Devil is not for the faint of heart. Our unflinching exploration will take you to the darkest corners of the psyche and through the unimaginable depths of human darkness to unearth stark secrets to the harsh light of day. Nothing will be left untouched. Are you ready? Are you sure? We saw the devil.
Hey y'all, it's Robin. This isn't even going to be a full episode. This is just some quick thoughts, but I wanted to do a really quick recording, because a lot of people don't read the news or aren't in Facebook groups. So there has been some breaking news in a case that I have followed so closely. For whatever reason, I know the Gabby Petito case hit some people particularly hard in the feels. The Lori Vallow case with JJ and Tylee. This case in particular is one that I couldn't shake. And that's the Suzanne Morphew case. And if you recall, she went missing on Mother's Day 3.5 years ago. And eventually her husband, Barry, was arrested, but they didn't have a body and didn't really have a lot of evidence. In April of last year, a judge dismissed the case against Barry. Then the district attorney filed a motion to dismiss without prejudice, which means that charges could be filed again at a later date. So the prosecution, they were hoping to find Suzanne's remains at the time that these charges were initially filed and Barry, everyone thought was headed to trial. They didn't really have a lot of evidence. Here we are now, September of 2023, absolutely flabbergasted. Authorities were actually investigating another case in the area of Moffett, which is about 40 miles south of where Suzanne and Barry lived in Salida. If you recall, there's kind of a weird thing with Barry the day that Suzanne went missing. Suzanne was pretty much in a bikini on her deck. She was on her phone texting via LinkedIn, a guy that she had known from high school that she was having an affair with that Barry supposedly did not know about. We do know that Barry probably arrived back home on the property. Something happened. There's data suggesting that Barry was running around the property based on what the interior of the home looked like, one of the bedrooms. They found a spent tranq dart. It's speculated that Barry was chasing Suzanne around the home. Based on the disheveled appearance of the bedroom and the fact that the door actually had some indication of damage, investigators believe that Barry may have damaged the door as he was trying to get into it to get Suzanne after shooting her with a tranquilizer gun. That's just one of the theories from investigators. In the original preliminary hearing to determine whether Barry would even go on to stand trial, FBI agent John Grusing actually testified that they found a tranquilizer cap in the dryer. And the FBI, their sentiment was that he shot her with a tranq and then tried to get to her. Obviously, the defense at the time dismissed that as pure speculation, and eventually the entire case against him was dismissed. And here we are in 2023. Suzanne has been discovered. Apparently, her body was discovered on September 22nd. They've done all the testing. They identified the remains. And as of today, September 28th, they released that it is, in fact, Suzanne. And I feel like it's actually thrown me down an even bigger rabbit hole. Because if you recall, she went missing 3 years ago, a little over 3 years ago on Mother's Day. And there's weird digital signatures on all of this. So Barry's truck had GPS and kept digital records of locations. After the digital evidence of Barry's phone kind of running around the property, his truck doors opened multiple times and closed. And then investigators believe that throughout the evening, throughout that entire night from like 2:47 or so to 5:30 a.m., that Barry was out and about trying to get rid of evidence. At 3:30 a.m., data shows Barry's truck was off where Suzanne's bike would later be found. And then at 4:20 a.m., Suzanne's phone stopped sending signals altogether. That next morning, Barry left early. He went to Broomfield, if you recall, where he said he had a construction job. And all along the way, I call it the Tour de Dumpster, he made 5 different stops at dumpsters along the way. On that 5th stop, he threw away materials related to that tranquilizer gun. He also changed his clothing 3 different times. I know a lot of you remember that bullshit. I miss you, Suzanne. Please. I don't know. This is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. I love you. Come home. He barely even acts concerned. It is Drew Peterson couldn't have even done a better job. It's the worst acting job I've ever seen. And then after Suzanne went missing and this case became, nationally known, it was revealed that Suzanne, was having a lengthy affair with a guy that she had gone to high school with, a former high school classmate. She was very open with her friends that Barry was abusive, that he was physically abusive, sexually abusive, that she told him before that she wanted a divorce and he held a gun to her head and threatened to kill her and them. All signs point to Barry being the obvious person who did it. And then don't forget about the DNA in her Range Rover. When they took her Range Rover in and did testing on it, they found DNA that was at least a partial match to an unknown man who was connected to 3 unsolved sexual assault cases in Tempe, Phoenix, and Chicago. Very bizarre. Now, I personally, myself, do believe that Barry did it. I mean, come on. However, that being said, it's interesting that police were in this particular area investigating another case and then they found her remains. Now, where they were investigating, 2 other bodies were found 2 days before Suzanne's on September 20th. 44-year-old Linda Estrada and 39-year-old Amy Ford. Their bodies were found near that area on September 20th. No other information is available yet. However, that being said, remember the tour to dumpster that Barry did the day after Suzanne likely died or passed away, the last day that she was heard from? So he actually went north in that case. Suzanne's remains were found south, 50 miles south in the opposite direction of where Barry actually went. Now, is it completely outside the realm of possibility that he turned his truck GPS, the black box equivalent, off and on so many times? Like, is it completely outside the realm of possibility that he did it when it was off and came back? There appears to be a little bit of skepticism now. And hey, let's take a second gander at this evidence, considering they also just found 2 bodies kind of close to the area where Suzanne was just found, and another man was held responsible for that. Don't forget, Barry's entire thing was that Suzanne went out for a bike ride. Her bike was thrown kind of down the hill from their house. Investigators at the time said that it looked staged. Just so many questions now. So many questions. But yeah, this is a huge ordeal. I myself had kind of run out of hope that they would actually find her. Colorado has so many vast stretches of land. There are a lot of abandoned mines. People were wondering, Barry had access to concrete and concrete filler and all of that. So, I mean, it's just, I honestly was kind of running out of hope that they would find her. And then bam, out of nowhere today. I wonder how Barry is feeling today. And I think what breaks my heart the most about this case is that Suzanne, by all accounts, by everyone, said that she was the world's biggest sweetheart. Like, some people just radiate. Like Irene Gakwa, the likely murdered woman from Kenya that I've covered multiple times on this podcast. Some people, when you see a picture of them, they just radiate. And Suzanne was that type of person. Outwardly, it looked like she had a wonderful relationship with her family. She had a doting husband who obviously was a bit of a meathead, but hey, she had 2 daughters, and all of the pictures, they appeared to be just so beyond close. After she disappeared, what was so strange is that her daughters immediately went to the support of their father. They never really went to a vigil. They never searched for her. They never really did anything. The only public statements basically is that, yeah, we miss our mom, but we support our dad 100%. Months after, the 2 daughters and their father were captured on video in Mexico, laughing and smiling like nothing had happened. Now, I am not one to judge how one grieves in any capacity. I was a wreck after my parents passed, and I had closure with that. Imagine your father being the prime suspect in the death of your mother, who was having an affair and telling people the deep dark secrets, that he was threatening to kill her since she wanted a divorce, and finding all of this information out. I would not be doing well. However, I also would not be running to my father for the full support. That's like Chad Daybell's children, right? There was plenty of evidence out there, like indirect evidence in the very least, about his involvement in these missing children. And his children just decided to double down on him and the support of him. These daughters pretty much did the same thing. And I know we can't judge people unless we're in those positions, but I can't fucking fathom that. So I wonder how they're feeling today. The family did put out a statement. It's exactly as you would kind of imagine, of we're heartbroken and blah, 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 but happy to find closure. Interesting. More information is definitely going to be coming out. I wonder what kind of evidence. Will we see Barry charged here and indicted in the next couple days? I don't know. But I'm going to cover all of it when it hopefully eventually makes its way to court with Barry listed as the defendant. If he did it, of course. Later this evening, episode 12 of the Chris Chan saga will be coming out, and we're getting into the good stuff there. So be on the lookout for that. Until next crime.